hold your shot longer. Like, really, make sure you hold your shot longer. I'm Brian Hunt. Welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me and you're new to this channel, I am a freelance cinematographer, videographer. I am an owner-operator. I travel around. I do different kind of shoots, a lot of documentary, a lot of action, a lot of outdoor stuff, and a lot of things with minimal crews. And my channel is kind of really dedicated to the style of work I do and the style of shooting I do, and kind of tips and things to help you guys, and reviews on equipment that I actually use and have tested out in the field. So what am I talking about when I'm saying hold the shot longer? So this is a kind of classic thing I've seen a lot, and I've done myself in the past. It's something I have to remind myself of all the time, but that is not holding on a shot long enough. So what happens is you get into the edit, or the editor gets your footage, or you're cutting your own footage, and you look at the footage and you see that the shot you've done, the footage you've captured, some of those clips are way too short. You didn't hold on what you were focusing on long enough. If you're doing commercial work where you're, have a shot list, you have shots, you have takes you're doing with a talent, you have different content that way, this typically isn't a problem because you have things that are kind of blocked out. This is when you're going out and capturing stuff in a documentary kind of world where maybe you don't have a shot list and stuff. You just know you need to get these certain shots. You need to have coverage. If you're doing event coverage, weddings, things when you're doing maybe in an industrial corporate world where you need to get some B-roll of stuff, it is typically always on B-roll where I've seen this issue. And so what happens is you see something, catches your eye, you say, this would be great to have on camera. You start filming it, and then you notice something else, which happens to a lot of us as creatives. We typically can be really easily distracted. Those things and that kind of mindset is a great thing for noticing different things and be able to know what to capture. But we need to stop, focus, and hold on a shot long enough that can be used. Because what typically happens is somebody gets in there, they start seeing that shot, they start looking at it, they roll for 2 seconds, and they see something else, and we gotta go get that shot here. Oh, I gotta get that shot over here. This here. Oh, I'm gonna reframe here. And then you're left with a bunch of footage that is just so quick, you can't use. Now, in some situations, if you're doing an Instagram reel, you're doing these like super quick cuts, maybe that's what you want. You just need a real quick second. But I find most of the time, and not knowing exactly how the content's going to be used, it is way safer to hold on a shot longer. And you really should focus on that. So one trick that I've learned over the years, and this was a camera operator years ago taught me this, was to just kind of count in your head to 10. So I would go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000s. Do that in my head when I'm on a shot. Then I know I have that long enough that if we need to use it in the edit, I have at least 10 seconds before I've panned away. Now, this is something to think about for all shots, not just shots when you're static on something. Also for gimbal shots or moving shots. If you're wrapping around something, if you're doing a slider shot, if you're pushing in on something, don't just have 2 seconds of pushing in. Don't just have 2 seconds as wrapping around it. Really take your time and get that slowly moving around. Now, I'm going to use a word that I kind of hate, and I might do another video on later about why I hate this word, but that makes things look more cinematic. When you're moving slowly, okay? That slow pushes, those slow pushes in. If you're cutting a documentary, if you're cutting a corporate video, and you want to have some beautiful looking footage, those slow movements, those slow wraparounds, and they also help to play out the scenes. And a lot of times you need to hold on things for a little bit longer than you think. One of the places where I really had to focus on this was maybe about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I was working on a How It's Made style show. It was for the Discovery Network and for the History Network. We were filming in different factories of basically how things were being manufactured. And we didn't know what was going to be the final voiceover. The director and the producer were trying to build the story as we were shooting it because they were finding out about the process as we were there filming. But we really need to focus and made sure that we had shots long enough that if they were going to be talking for 30 seconds about a piece of equipment, we had that shot. Same kind of idea goes for documentary work. You really need to make sure you have a clip that's long enough. And I would say error on longer is better. You don't need to hold on a shot for 5 minutes. That might be better as a time lapse. if something's moving that slow. But you might want to hold on a shot, a B-roll shot for 20, 30 seconds. Something really to think about. It does maybe slow you down a little bit in your process, but I promise you, your editor is going to thank you when you get this footage that has long enough takes that they can use. Now, one way to really figure this stuff out and know how long you're holding a shot for and if you're holding a shot long enough or not, coming from a video I did a little while back that was titled and talked about editing your own footage and why editing your own footage makes you a better cinematographer, makes you a better camera operator. And the reason I was saying that is one of these key things is holding that shot long enough, because you will quickly find out that you did not hold a shot long enough when you're editing your own footage. And you would hate to be that person that gets that email from the editor saying, hey, all the footage you got, this stuff looks great, but I can't use these clips because you're just moving too quickly. Another thing to think about is also framing and adjusting your image. So adjusting your exposure, adjusting your focus, adjusting your framing, zooming in and out on the lens. Make sure you don't do that on every shot. Okay, so what I mean by that is don't be reframing, and this happens a lot with newer cinematographers, newer camera operators, is that they keep messing with the image all the time and they don't let it sit long enough. That's what I mean by holding the shot. So if you think this shot might look better in a different focal length, hold on that shot for long enough, then go into the other focal length, start recording again, and get that separate shot. If you think if the exposure looks a bit off, wait till you're done, unless it's completely radically off and it's, not worth having at all. But if it's just maybe you want to tweak it a little bit, don't play with that while you're shooting that clip. Finish shooting that clip, start another clip. This will make things way easier. It's nothing worse for an editor to be locking on a shot and all of a sudden during the shot, you're now adjusting the exposure levels. And they're like, oh, I can't use this shot now, or I gotta, it's completely noticeable to the viewer. And what you're trying to do is create content for real editing stuff that is seamless, that has the viewer is engaged in the story. They're not noticing the edits or the camera work itself. The camera work itself is making the story better, and that is really by making it invisible that the person is so kind of wrapped up in the story. Now, another trick I do for this that doesn't work for all footage, but it works for quite a bit of B-roll, is that I shoot it in 60 frames per second. I shoot a lot of my B-roll in 60 frames a second. That way, we can always retime it back to real time, but we have a longer clip because it's in slow motion. It's got double the length. So if I hold on a 10-second clip, I'm getting, a bit more than 20 seconds worth of footage. If I'm playing that back at 24 frames per second, this can really help you. It also, that slow motion, depending on what you're shooting, can help you bring out that emotion, that kind of feel, that more cinematic look again on what you're capturing. Now, again, this doesn't work in all things, and sometimes you want to be capturing the audio. But for a lot of content that I shoot for B-roll, we do that at 60 frames per second or higher, maybe at 120 frames per second. But really, getting a long shot, really getting a shot that's extending out and being long enough to cover up and to be used in an edit. Do not be scared to hold on a shot if it's a beautiful shot and it's really capturing something. You just hold on that shot for a long time. Okay, so I'm going to go back to another example. This was a documentary that I was the director of photography on. It was with Michael Del Monte, who's from the AOD, Art of Documentary, works with Mark Bone, good friend of mine. We worked on this film. It was an award-winning film. In the US, you can see this on Netflix, called Transformer. There's a scene in that film where Janae, the main character, she is pacing back and forth in her home gym. And actually, I didn't capture this scene myself. I was there. I was shooting some other stuff. And the producer, who was also good friend, Tad Munnings, who was also just doing the second camera, saw this happening and just rolled on it. And it became this really beautiful scene in the movie. And so why this played out so well, it really helped to bring a mood. It was a very simple shot. There's not really any camera movement. The camera was on a monopod, but Tad held on this shot for a long time. Like, this was a few minutes of Janae pacing back and forth, and it really, really helped in the film. So really, guys, the takeaway from this video is just really focus on holding your shots longer. This will really help you in your videos, in the content you're creating, in the content you're delivering to other people, in the stuff you're cutting yourself, you'll notice that you have a longer clip, and that you'll stop having that frustration of not holding a clip long enough. Count in your head, really let that stuff play out, and then think about how this might be used. Maybe you need to hold in the shot for 30 seconds, for longer than that. Focus on this stuff. It will help you to become a better cinematographer, a better camera operator. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, please comment down below. Love to hear from you guys. I'm trying to create a lot more content going forward. More content like this about stuff that I'm passionate about, and just kind of little tips and tricks that I have learned over the years, plus reviewing some gear that I'm actually using and have used on paying jobs. So thanks so much, guys, for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.